Hello, everyone. You're welcome back to Emotional Intelligence Made Simple. My name is Angelica, and today we are going to talk about the trait model of emotional intelligence. The last time we talked about the ability model, and I promised you that we are going to take the models one after the other. Today, we are talking about the trait model. I hope you'll be following me and understanding everything gradually, because sometimes when you try to read about these models and then the emotional intelligence, it becomes a bit bogus. But I have promised you that I'm going to make it simple for you, and I hope you've been enjoying it. I hope it has been a smooth ride for you so far. Please don't forget to leave your comments. I would like to get your feedback to know how it is with you, how the journey is with you. So let's go straight to the trait model. The trait model, as opposed to the ability model, focuses on the self perception, how you feel about yourself. The trait model believes that if one is able to perceive his or her emotional state, you will likely be able to perceive another person's own. If you're able to perceive your own emotions, understand them, use them wisely, you will likely be able to perceive another person's own, understand, and also use them wisely. So that's why the trait model focuses on your personality, trying to understand who you are, your reactions to situations. Now, the trait model, just as the name says, they believe that it is ingrained, that your reaction, your emotional state is ingrained in who you are. That's your personality, what makes you who you are. Now, though they allow for a little bit of change, just a little change, but basically, the trait model believes that your reaction to situations falls back to who you are. For instance, if you're naturally someone who is very quiet, the way you respond, even if people around have been telling you need to be this, you need to talk, speak out more, you can't allow yourself to be intimidated and all that. When a situation comes up, the first reaction that comes to you is that nature, that quiet nature. That's how you react to the situation. That's how what the trait model says, that at the end of the day, your reaction, your emotional state is ingrained in who you are, and that's what you show forth. So that's what the emotional the trait model is all about. Now, because of the way the trait model is, it doesn't allow for so much testing, because they don't agree that any reaction is wrong or right. Unlike the ability model, if when you're taking the MSCEIT to assess your emotional quotient, if you ask the question and maybe say what emotion you see in this picture and then you get it wrong, maybe the person was sad and then you now tick happy, on that one you'll be scored wrong. But for the trait model, it believes that all your reactions are useful. There's no wrong reaction. If it's not useful in this particular scenario, it will be useful in another scenario. For instance, someone who is um, naturally quiet, maybe you're asked a question in the test, you and then your answer shows that you're a quiet person. It won't be seen as being wrong, because when it comes to when you okay, for instance, you encounter a very aggressive policeman on the road, that nature will come into play, and then it will actually save you from a lot of stress. So they believe that even though it may seem like a wrong reaction in a different scenario, maybe when your wife or your children are about to be beaten up and then you're trying to be calm and be a very good gentleman, it may be looked at as being wrong in that situation. But in another situation, that same behavior will prove to be the right behavior that you should have exhibited at that point in time. So that's what the trait model says, that no behavioral pattern is wrong. If it's wrong, if it looks not beneficial in this situation, it will be beneficial in another situation. That's the trait model for you. And because of this, it refuses all the possible testing methods, because for a test to be done, you have to be marked right or wrong, right or wrong. But there's no way to scientifically measure your emotional quotient using the trait model. All it does is assess your personality type and tell you the type of personality you have. Now, the test method for the traits model is the trait emotional intelligence questionnaire. Now, this questionnaire, you see questions like, I I don't I don't like to, okay, for instance, I don't like to let people know what I'm thinking. Then you now be you see some scores, maybe 1 to 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, where 1 is I don't agree, and then 7 is I agree very much. So you're now supposed to say what your reaction will be in that situation. For instance, I seldom tell people the way I feel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you're supposed to either agree very much about that, about yourself, or you disagree. You can put 7. That means yes, you actually don't like to let people know the way you feel. Then you can see I often have difficulty making decisions. Then you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're supposed to choose one being no, I don't agree with that statement, or 7 being I agree, or somewhere in between. So it's either you agree with the statements or you disagree with the statements. That just shows your personality type. It shows from the first question, second question, third question, there will be a trend. Whoever is looking at the questionnaire will see a trend in, your behavioral pattern. Maybe you're someone who is more reserved, or you're someone who is more outgoing, and probably also aggressive and all that. So that um, trait emotional intelligence questionnaire helps to assess your behavior, helps to assess your personality. That's what it's all about. So it's not as if when you take the test, you now be given a low score, and to now be said that your emotional quotient is low. No. The trait model believes that all behaviors are beneficial. And that's why it's very difficult for people to either prove or disprove this method, this model, because it does not conform to a particular method of testing. That's the trait model. Interesting, right? How the ability model is just at a different angle. But one unique thing about all the models is that they come down to saying the same thing. There's there just you have to understand how people react. That at the end of the day, all of them come down to that. But they are using different methods to arrive at that one thing. Understand people's behaviors, understand why people act the way they do, understand people's emotions, and use them well. The ability model comes through your intellect, thinking, possessing these competencies, while the trait model comes through understanding yourself. When you understand yourself, you'll be able to understand others. At the end of the day, all of them come down to how can you understand people's emotions? How can you use these emotions? How can you use these emotions to make a difference in your situation, in your organization, in your home? That's what they're all about. Now, parts of the emotions that are tested in this trait emotional intelligence questionnaire are your well-being, your emotionality, self-control, and sociability. These are what you measure in the questionnaire. Your well-being, your emotionality, self-control, how you're able to control yourself in situations, and your sociability. Are you very social? A lot of people, a lot of companies use this trait emotional intelligence questionnaire to assess people's temperaments, people's behaviors, not not to discredit them, but to understand where they'll better fit in an organization, to understand their temperaments. And also, if they are recruiting for a particular position, they want to know whether this person's temperament suits that particular position. Now, another emotion that is checked in the questionnaire, that is assessed in the questionnaire, is adaptability and self-motivation. These are very important to a company that is recruiting. Maybe they want to know how you're able to adapt. If something comes up tomorrow, how are you going to be able to adapt? Are you open to new ideas? Are you open to new ways? Now, even if you take Even if you answer the questions in the questionnaire, and then you say you often like your comfort zone, you don't like to go out and experience new things and all that, it doesn't make you not emotionally intelligent according to the trait model. It only means you're better suited for a different position. Many companies have gone on to using this questionnaire to assess their staff or potential staff, to fit them into the particular departments or units that they will better function and that will eventually get good results for the company. So that's what the trait model is all about. Just like the other models, it also has criticisms. Now, the trait model is looked at as being too focused on your personality type. The critics of the trait model believe that the emotional intelligence is supposed to be about your cognitive ability, not about your personality, about your ability to reason and figure things out and adjust yourself to suit the situation and understand people, learn how to perceive their emotions, learn how to use the emotions properly. So it is just a question of the people who believe in the ability model. Of course, they will criticize the trait model and say, no, you should use your cognitive ability instead of your personality. Then those who believe more, the proponents of the trait model, will criticize the ability model and say, okay, no, it's not supposed to be about solely about your cognitive ability. We are making it to be as if you need to think. It's more like intelligence. It should be about your personality. So that's what this is about. So now, looking at the two of them, which one do you believe better reflects what emotional intelligence is all about? But don't answer yet. We are still going to talk about the mixed model. Then you, after looking at the three models, I'm sure you know for yourself which one you believe depicts emotional intelligence. So we've come to the end of our trait model explanation. Thank you very much for being here. I would like you to leave your comments, let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.